Snark Squad. Babes, it is Saturday night.
The best night of the week.
Literally the best. And babes, I mean the wine. Poured.
Oh, it is heavily poured.
The vibes. Out. They're fully out. And babes, more than anything, I mean, we are just ready to spiral tonight.
You know exactly what kind of night this is. Like, we are completely unhinged and totally unfiltered tonight.
Because I have to admit, like, my initial reaction to turning the show on, pure visceral jealousy.
Oh, instantly. It creates this fascinating psychological baseline for us as viewers, right? Like, we enter the viewing experience already experiencing a massive sense of lack.
Exactly. We turned it on and immediately jealous. Like, babes, not just because everyone on the screen is insanely hot.
Though they are.
Right, they are. Not just because the bodies are absolutely bodying, but because they are in Hawaii.
And we are, well, not in Hawaii.
No. We are sitting here trapped in this confusing, relentless, like, winter-spring identity crisis.
It's exhausting, logically frustrating.
Like, babes, can we put our winter clothes away or not? Because one day it's giving spring, the sun is out, the birds are acting like it's May, I'm in a cute little jacket. And then the next day, snow boots, puffer jackets. I am completely emotionally done with winter. I am over it.
Yeah, at a certain point, you just have to accept the meteorological chaos. You start mapping out the summer discussion to maintain your sanity.
Oh, I am completely romanticizing summer right now just to cope with reality.
What is the peak summer delusion for you right now?
Okay, the matching linen outfits, the chaotic, like, high-vibration outdoor energy.
Right.
Drinking those heavily iced beverages on a patio at, like, 3 in the afternoon. Just feeling hot in both the physical and aesthetic sense, you know?
See, while you romanticize the aesthetic, I find myself ranking what actually matters. I mean, the true heroes of the season. Air conditioning efficiency, mapping out the precise ice-to-alcohol ratio so your drink doesn't dilute in 5 minutes.
Okay, valid.
And just the sheer logistical triumph of being outside and successfully avoiding sweating.
It's the delusion of a perfect getaway that keeps us going, honestly, which brings us to the Hawaii moment.
Oh, boy.
Because watching these people, I thought, you know, let's just go. Let's book it.
A dangerous thought.
Right. But then I actually looked it up, and babes, Hawaii is insanely expensive.
It is a sobering reality.
We cannot afford this. Even as dentists, we literally cannot afford it.
I mean, if you evaluate the actual mechanics of a trip like that, the infrastructure of the tourism economy there is literally designed to extract maximum capital.
It's extortion.
It is. The flights, the resort fees, importing the food, the activities, it's mathematically concerning.
So concerning. So then you try to look up vacation hacks, right? Like, okay, maximizing credit card points.
Which is a part-time job in itself.
Literally. Or flying in the dead of the off-season when it's like pouring rain, agonizing over a strict budget, sharing a single bathroom with 6 people just to split the cost of an Airbnb.
But then you inevitably spiral.
I do spiral. Because being a working person, SCKS, because why do we have to budget? We want to go to Hawaii and now W.
I mean, I am always trying to break down the reality of inflation and the logistical puzzle, but honestly, I understand the urge to just reject the logic entirely.
We are rejecting it. Delta, if you're listening, sponsor us.
Send us.
Send us immediately. We are ready. We need to escape.
But until we get that corporate sponsorship, we have to find comfort where we can.
Exactly. So, food moment.
Yes, let's talk about the situation.
Babes, we have wine on deck.
Poured generously.
Generously. And for anyone watching the feed, we are eating roast beef and cheddar sandwiches tonight. I just need a pause for that. Because they are elite.
From a purely structural standpoint, I have to agree, they are a triumph.
Shout out to Quiznos. The specific artisan bread choice, the way the cheddar cheese acts as this perfect, like, melted barrier.
It's crucial for the structural integrity.
It is. And the precise layering of the sauces and toppings, I am obsessed. It is hitting every single spot.
I was critically evaluating the moisture barrier and the sauce-to-meat ratio earlier, and it is scientifically balanced.
It really is.
It is the perfect grounding mechanism. And frankly, we need that grounding mechanism tonight because we are about to unpack something deeply, deeply unsettling.
We really are. Which brings us to the actual premise of the show we are dissecting tonight.
Let's get into it.
Babes, we need to ask, is the show explicitly designed to break people a pee?
Yes. The short answer is yes.
Because how realistically, psychologically, does a relationship survive this experiment?
That is the core foundational question here. I mean, if we strip away the palm trees and the reality television gloss, what we are looking at is an incredibly sophisticated, highly engineered pressure cooker.
It's terrifying.
It is entirely designed to exploit human vulnerability. The temptation setup isn't just about putting attractive people in a room.
Right.
It's an architectural dismantling of a couple's existing support system.
Let's fully unpack the mechanics of that dismantling because it makes me sick when you really look at it.
Yeah, for it.
You take two people who are already fundamentally insecure in their relationship. Because let's be honest, secure people do not outsource their relationship counseling to a television network.
Accurate.
Right. So you take them, you remove them from their jobs, their friends, their families, and their normal routines.
Exactly. You induce a state of profound isolation. In sociological terms, you are stripping away all their anchors. Then you introduce the new singles. But these singles aren't just, like, casually attractive.
Oh, no, they're weapons.
They have been heavily vetted and psychologically profiled by producers to represent the exact traits that the core cast members feel are missing in their current partners.
It's just evil.
It is. If a woman feels unheard by her boyfriend, the producers ensure there is a single man in that house whose entire strategy is active listening and emotional validation.
It is literally weaponized empathy.
Precisely.
The singles are essentially doing targeted reconnaissance on these people, and then you add the geographical distance from their partner, the limitless access to alcohol.
And the tropical environment that naturally lowers inhibitions.
Yes, plus the sleep deprivation that comes from filming reality TV, and you have a recipe for complete cognitive collapse. Like, I absolutely do not believe in these relationships surviving, not a single one.
Analyzing the experiment objectively, it is essentially the Hawthorne effect pushed to a malicious extreme.
Totally.
The subjects know they are being observed, but instead of altering their behavior to be better, the environment is calibrated to make them act on their most suppressed base impulses. And then the manipulation of the bonfire clip.
Oh my God, the bonfires!
That is the psychological coup de grace.
We have to talk about how deeply unethical the bonfire edits are, because they aren't showing these people an accurate representation of what their partner did that week.
Not at all.
They are utilizing the most devastating form of confirmation bias. If you are afraid your boyfriend is a flirt, the producers will sift through, 168 hours of weekly footage?
Easily.
Just to find the singular 10-second clip of him laughing at another woman's joke. They strip away all context and force you to watch it on an iPad in the dark.
And that targeted editing completely alters their reality. They aren't reacting to the truth. They're reacting to a meticulously crafted narrative designed to inflict maximum emotional damage.
Yes.
But logically, I can see how the show merely highlights the cracks that were already present in the foundation of the relationship. It just accelerates the inevitable decay. Like, if your relationship is truly solid, you don't need to put it through a centrifuge of 20 hot singles to prove it.
Okay, I'm going to push back on that logic.
All right, let's hear it.
Because I think it just highlights the cracks argument, gives the environment way too much grace. Have you ever considered the proximity effect?
I mean, yeah.
Proximity is one of the strongest predictors of interpersonal attraction. My analogy is this. The premise of this show is like locking a person inside a fully stocked candy store, entirely alone, for a month. You starve them of their normal food. And then you get furiously, righteously angry when they eventually eat a gummy bear. Of course they ate the gummy bear. You engineered a situation where resisting the gummy bear required superhuman, exhausting levels of willpower.
I see your proximity argument.
Yeah.
But let me counter your candy store analogy.
Bring it.
It isn't just about putting someone in a candy store. The psychological delusion here is bringing your partner to a candy store to explicitly prove to a national audience that they only like broccoli.
Oh my God.
It is pure delusion. You are already acutely aware that they like candy. They have eaten candy before. Some of them, as we will discuss later, have even stolen candy in the recent past.
The accuracy.
But you willingly drag them to the center of the candy store, point at the gummy bears and say, watch this. He's not going to eat it. He loves broccoli.
The broccoli delusion. That is exactly what it is. You are setting an impossible test so that when they fail, you finally have the undeniable permission you needed to leave them. And speaking of the mastermind overseeing this entire candy store of emotional destruction, we have to look at the host. Because the host of this show is playing a role that is so incredibly complex, it borders on Machiavellian.
Oh, Mark L. Wahlberg is analytically fascinating.
He is.
If you look at the viewer consensus online, the broader audience views him as the absolute gem of the series. He is seen as the moral center of an otherwise amoral universe.
Which is wild to me.
But if we dig deeper into his methodology, his role is much more insidious than just being a friendly guide.
He weaponizes therapy speak better than anyone I've ever seen on television.
He really does.
He has this incredibly soothing baritone voice. He projects this genuine paternal warmth. He sits at the bonfire, and instead of hyping up the drama like a traditional reality host, like stirring the pot, he speaks to them like a highly seasoned, deeply concerned couples counselor.
Which is exactly why he is a psychological master. What's fascinating here is how he manages the clinicalization of a toxic environment.
Yes, the clinicalization.
He has a way of making this entirely absurd, exploitative television show seem like a crucial, necessary, almost spiritual crucible for these couples.
Right.
He convinces the cast and, frankly, the audience watching at home that staying on this island and enduring immense psychological pain is the only verily way to solve their interpersonal problems.
He frames the torture as growth.
Exactly.
I was watching him so closely during the first bonfire. A contestant is sitting there, visibly shaking, sobbing over a clip of her boyfriend acting inappropriately. A normal, empathetic human reaction from a bystander would be, this is hurting you, you should leave this toxic situation.
Or, let's turn the iPad off.
Right. But the host looks them dead in the eye, leans in with that gentle probing tone, and asks, but isn't this exactly what you came here to find out? Isn't this the clarity you needed to grow?
It is a textbook application of Socratic questioning, but used for containment rather than actual healing.
Oh, dark.
It is. He traps them within their own flawed logic. He forces them to verbally commit, on camera, to the idea that their suffering has a higher purpose.
Wow.
Brilliant, frankly.
Right.
If they had a host who was loud, chaotic, and openly starting drama, the cognitive dissonance would break. The contestants would realize they were being mocked, and they would just quit and go home.
They would walk out.
But by using this gentle, probing pseudotherapist approach, he convinces them that the pain is the medicine.
He creates a trauma bond between himself and the contestants. They look at him as their savior when he is actually the one administering the shocks.
Yep.
It perfectly encapsulates how human beings will endure almost anything if you can successfully convince them that it is part of a necessary journey.
And that journey begins on night one, which provided one of the most stark sociological juxtapositions I have ever seen on television.
The tale of the two houses.
It genuinely serves as a localized sociological case study in gender socialization and emotional compartmentalization.
It is the most depressing, fascinating contrast.
The dichotomy is jarring.
Let's look at the girl's house first. It is night one. They have been separated from their boyfriends for a matter of hours. Literally hours.
Barely enough time to unpack.
And the atmosphere in that villa is akin to a Victorian mourning parlor.
Complete devastation.
They are sitting around in a circle, crying, wiping away tears, engaging in this communal, performative grief. They are desperately holding on to this pathetic hope that the men are over in their villa crying just as hard.
Which they are not.
And there is one cast member, Cheyenne, who is just completely radiating anticipatory anxiety, pulling the mood of the entire house down to a subterranean level. Nobody's drinking, nobody is mingling, they are just co-ruminating in their misery.
Well, the psychological term for that is exactly that. Co-rumination.
Right.
It's a phenomena frequently observed in female social dynamics, where individuals excessively discuss personal problems within a group, which actually amplifies depression and anxiety rather than relieving it.
It makes it so much worse.
They are feeding off each other's fear, but then you sarcastically contrast that with the men's house.
The men's house is a completely different planet.
It is an absolute unhinged fraternity party.
Unhinged.
We cut to the boys, and within hours of arriving, someone has located a large plastic pool tarp, found a bottle of dish soap, and constructed a massive makeshift slip and slide straight through the living room.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
They are screaming, laughing, throwing themselves across the floor. The single women are jumping on their back.
The men literally forgot they had girlfriends the second the boat docked. The compartmentalization is staggering.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of emotional processing, the girl's house looks like a waiting room at the dentist, where everyone is silently bracing for a root canal.
Yes.
And the boys' house is a 2004 MTV Spring Break special. It highlights a massive divergence in how stress is handled. The women are seeking emotional connection by projecting their internal emotional state outward, assuming their partners must be matching their frequency of sadness.
Which perfectly encapsulates how we, as women, often build these elaborate cinematic narratives in our heads. We sit there thinking, he must be so sad right now. He's probably standing on the balcony, looking at the moon, thinking about the last conversation we had.
A total fabrication.
Complete fabrication. Meanwhile, the men are completely captured by the immediate physical stimuli. They see a shiny piece of plastic on the floor, a bottle of tequila, and their higher executive functioning completely shuts down. They literally revert to immediate gratification.
It's not necessarily that the men don't care about their partners in a broader sense.
Sure.
It's that their immediate environment dictates their behavioral output entirely. They are highly present-focused. There is a slip and slide in front of me. Therefore, the most logical action is to slide.
Right.
The women fail to grasp this intense compartmentalization, so they sit there suffering, creating a fictional shared misery that simply does not exist across the island.
This realization brings us to a crucial psychological profile we need to dissect.
Segment 1, let's do it.
We have to analyze the individuals who are not just compartmentalizing, but who are taking this environment to a borderline criminal extreme right out of the gate.
Temptation level. Criminal or casual?
Exactly. Who is utilizing this experiment to engage in actively malicious behavior while pretending it's just a quote-unquote harmless connection. And babes, we have to start with Jack.
Jack's behavior requires a deep dive into the concept of audacity and cognitive dissonance.
I am losing my mind trying to understand Jack's psychology, because exactly what we just talked about, the co-rumination in the girl's house, is centered largely around him.
Entirely around him.
Cheyenne is sitting in the girl's villa, practically hyperventilating. She is unable to get a complete sentence out because she is crying so hard over how much she misses Jack.
She is eulogizing their connection.
Yes. And the producers, utilizing that savage editing we discussed, cut directly from her tear-stained face to Jack on the other side of the island.
It's a brutal transition.
So brutal. And what is Jack doing? He is lounging with a group of single women, explicitly and graphically discussing what a woman's anatomy tastes like, comparing it to candy.
On night one. The editorial whiplash is designed to evoke rage in the viewer, and it succeeds perfectly. But let's break down the deeper criminality of Jack's presence on this show.
Please.
Because this isn't just a naive guy getting carried away by the party atmosphere. The context is vital here. He is a high school sweetheart who has already established a pattern of infidelity.
He already cheated.
He has already cheated on Cheyenne prior to the show.
And the mechanism of how she caught him is what makes this so incredibly dark. She didn't just stumble upon a confession.
Because she had to work for it.
She had to engage in full-blown digital espionage. She had to go into his phone, find the side piece's contact, impersonate Jack, and send a message saying, "Nice lips," just to see how the woman would respond.
Which is exhausting.
And the woman replied, "Which pair or which one?" Throw the whole man away. Which pair or which one? That implies a deeply entrenched, ongoing physical relationship, not a one-time mistake.
The burden of proof in modern digital relationships is just insane. But the fact that she had to play FBI profiler to extract the truth indicates a severe lack of accountability on his end. He is entirely comfortable with deception.
And yet, knowing this, she brings him to an island densely populated by beautiful, aggressively available women to test him.
It is the absolute zenith of the broccoli delusion we discussed earlier.
Yes.
He already proved he is a cheater in the real world, under normal conditions where there aren't camera crews and highly paid producers actively orchestrating scenarios to tempt him.
What is the psychological justification for this test?
It's the ultimate manifestation of the sunk cost fallacy. They are high school sweethearts. She has invested her formative years, her entire early adulthood, into the narrative of Jack.
To walk away now requires admitting that the last 5 years were a poor investment. So instead of cutting her losses, she manufactures a scenario with stakes so high that if he miraculously passes, it retroactively validates all of her previous suffering.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. She needs an external, undeniable force to either fix him or finally give her the indisputable permission to leave that her own internal boundaries cannot provide.
Exactly. And honestly, we have to look at the sheer disproportionate nature of the attraction here, because the audience at home is collectively noticing something.
The internet is united on this.
The men cast on this season are largely being described online as medium ugly losers.
It's harsh but mathematically accurate.
And I have never agreed with a sociological consensus more rapidly in my life. Jack is the poster child for this. He looks like a cockatoo bird.
He does. He's technically 23 years old, but his presentation, his posture, his entire aura projects the energy of a teenager who still needs his mother to sign a permission slip for a field trip.
He spends an inordinate amount of time in the mirror, fluffing up this weird, feathery crest on the top of his head.
It's an aesthetic choice.
A bad one. He is not projecting confidence. He is not projecting raw masculine temptation. He is projecting middle school dance anxiety.
Yeah.
The cognitive dissonance of watching a stunning woman like Cheyenne have a full psychological breakdown over a medium ugly man with a cockatoo haircut who talks about candy anatomy on night one. It defies all logic.
The contrast between the gravity of her emotional despair and the absolute staggering unseriousness of his existence is jarring.
Staggering unseriousness. I love that.
But if we are cataloging red flags in toxic relationship dynamics, Jack is merely immature and deceitful. We have to pivot to a much darker psychological profile. We need to analyze Summit. Because while Jack's audacity is frustrating, Summit's behavior is actively structurally toxic.
Oh, Summit. He is a walking, breathing study in the dark triad personality traits, specifically Machiavellianism and narcissism.
Right out of the gate, Summit establishes a deeply unsettling pattern. He is walking around the island, on camera, making these incredibly gross, fetishizing comments about desiring spicy Latina mamacitas.
So gross.
It is objectifying, it relies on racialized tropes, and the alarming part is that he says it with his whole chest, completely unbothered by how it reflects on his character.
There's no shame at all.
And structurally, the way he presents himself, the sweater vests, the severe haircut, he projects the rigidity of a man much older than 25.
He gives heavy, undeniable ick.
Absolute pick.
But the fetishization is just the surface layer. The emotional criminality with Summit, the behavior that makes me actively angry as a viewer, is how he systematically deconstructs his girlfriend, Kay.
It's hard to watch.
He actively and openly puts her body down. He tells her she needs to go to the gym. He tells her to her face that her physical form is not his ideal type.
If we unpack the psychological mechanism behind that behavior, we are looking at textbook emotional manipulation, commonly referred to in pickup artist communities as negging, but applied here on a devastating macroscopic scale within a long-term relationship.
Why would anyone do that to someone they love?
Why does a partner do this? He does this specifically to manufacture a state of profound insecurity. He is keeping her self-esteem dangerously, artificially low.
Because if she realizes her actual value, she leaves him immediately.
Precisely. If he constantly chips away at her confidence, criticizing the very vessel she exists in, she becomes trauma bonded to him.
It's so twisted.
She stays hooked, running on a treadmill of impossible standards, desperate for the tiny crumbs of validation he occasionally drops. He's creating a dynamic where she feels lucky that he's even putting up with her. It is an exertion of total psychological control.
Which is absolutely insane to witness because Kai is objectively stunning.
She is.
She is beautiful, intelligent, and vibrant. So here is the complex hypothetical we have to ask ourselves when evaluating these distinct brands of toxic men. You are observing these two absolute disasters, right? Would you theoretically tolerate a deceitful, immature cheater like Jack? Or would you tolerate a man like Summit who engages in systemic psychological warfare against your physical identity?
It is a terrifying thought experiment because it asks which foundational pillar of your psyche you are willing to let crumble.
Yeah.
Your trust or your self-worth.
Because honestly, the only correct answer is complete and total rejection of both. Throw them both in the trash.
Agreed.
But there is something uniquely sinister about a partner who weaponizes your appearance against you. Cheating is a betrayal of the relationship's boundaries. Body shaming is a targeted surgical assault on your individual identity.
It is.
It destroys your soul from the inside out. It makes you feel unsafe in your own skin.
I agree completely. The cheating indicates a lack of respect for the partnership, but the insidious daily erosion of a woman's self-image is designed to trap her.
Completely trap her.
And the tragedy is that Kai brought him to this island, believing that if he resists temptation, it will somehow prove his love and magically cure his cruelty. But loyalty without basic human respect is worthless.
Such a good point. This level of self-deception brings us to the most pervasive epidemic on the island. Segment 2, the delusion check.
Who's lying to themselves?
Exactly. We need to break down the individuals who are operating under completely fabricated realities. The people who think they are innocent or suave or in control, but whose internal narratives are fundamentally misaligned with observable reality.
I will gladly take the analytical lead on Mikey for this. because Mikey is a fascinating psychological case study in fabricated self-image and the nice guy syndrome.
Do it. Drag him.
Mikey entered this experiment vehemently claiming he used to be a player. He builds this extensive verbal mythology about how he was such a hoe in college, a dangerous playboy who couldn't be tamed.
The lies.
But the moment you observe his actual behavior and body language for 5 minutes, he projects undeniable, overwhelming, big-ficking dork energy.
The internet consensus accurately labeled him a doofus maloofus, and it is the most surgically precise description in reality television history.
A doofus maloofus.
He's the ultimate doofus maloofus. There is no danger to him. There is no edge.
He lacks the fundamental charisma or sociopathic charm required to actually be a player. He's not smooth. He's aggressively present and anxious.
He makes me cringe on a visceral level. He operates entirely as Mr. Homegirl.
Oh,
He gravitates exclusively toward the women, engaging in these highly sanitized platonic interactions, and he claims it's just friend vibes. He wants to be the guy that all the single girls trust, the one they gossip with, the one whose hair they braid by the pool. But his delusion is that he secretly believes this proximity makes him a master seducer. He thinks the friend zone is the waiting room for the bedroom.
Let's analyze the specific situation with the single girl, India, because it perfectly encapsulates his cognitive distortion.
I was dying during this scene.
Mikey is sitting in a confessional, speaking to the camera, utterly convinced that India is looking at him with deep romantic intent. He is narrating this elaborate fantasy where his charm is wearing her down.
And then?
Meanwhile, the producers, exercising brilliant editorial timing, cut directly to India in her own confessional. And India explicitly, unequivocally, dissects him.
She destroyed him.
She states that Mikey is goofy, he is just a bro. She firmly friend-zoned him and diagnosed his exact problem.
Yeah.
If he wants any woman in any environment to take him seriously as a romantic prospect, he has to completely drop the performative goofy act.
He is not projecting sex appeal. He is projecting summer camp counselor.
Precisely.
But the absolute peak of his narcissistic delusion, the moment his fabricated reality shattered, was during the date selection.
Oh, this was cinematic.
His girlfriend, Sydney, is granted the power to pick one of the single men for her first one-on-one date, and she selects Xzavier, who, objectively speaking, possesses every trait Mikey lacks.
Every single one.
He is tall, he is gorgeous, he is deeply calm, and he plays the guitar.
The acoustic guitar in a tropical, isolated environment is an overwhelmingly lethal variable. It practically guarantees a narrative shift.
Legal. So Sydney picks the guitar playing threat, and Mikey experiences a total collapse of his ego.
A complete meltdown.
He is confronted with Mark Wahlberg, and instead of acting unbothered, he launches into this bizarre defensive monologue. He claims that he and the single girls are the three amigos, desperately trying to project this image of a carefree, platonic guy who is totally fine with his girlfriend dating a model.
But the facade crumbles instantly.
The second he is away from the group, he is in the confessional crying fake tears, throwing a complete emotional tantrum.
We need to look at the defense mechanism at play there. It is a classic reaction formation. He didn't get the outcome his ego demanded.
Nope.
In his head, he imagined Sydney would hear his three amigos' speech, realize how popular he is with the women, and get visibly, desperately jealous.
Which is so embarrassing for him.
When she simply nodded, played it cool, and proceeded to pick the hottest guy in the room, his entire strategy failed miserably. His tantrum wasn't about losing Sydney. It was about losing control of the narrative. He is completely lying to himself about being a cool, detached player.
The delusion is staggering. And speaking of men experiencing profound ego death on national television, we have to analyze Cole.
Yes, let's look at Cole.
Because Cole's bruised ego is the most satisfying secondary storyline of the entire experiment.
Cole's trajectory is a brilliant study in the difference between self-perception and market value.
Say that again?
Let's look at the mechanics of the initial bracelet ceremony. For context, the single women are tasked with placing a physical bracelet on the wrist of the man they are most romantically or physically drawn to.
Right.
It is an immediate, ruthless metric of desirability. And Cole received exactly one bracelet.
One out of a sea of women, and his reaction is a masterclass in narcissistic injury.
Oh, absolutely.
His ego is completely, irreparably shattered in real time. He spends the rest of the night pouting. He is actively moping around the perimeter of the MTV spring break slip and slide party, radiating miserable energy because literally nobody wanted him.
He walked onto that island convinced he was the apex predator, the king of the villa, and the collective female gaze looked at him and said, pass.
Pass. It is so funny.
It is a brutally harsh reality check. But what is even more psychologically fascinating and deeply delusional is the framework of rules he and his girlfriend Scarlett established before arriving on the island.
Oh, the rules. Please unpack the absolute absurdity of these rules because it defies all logic.
So Cole and Scarlett apparently negotiated a pre-show agreement stating that they were permitted to engage in physical hookups with other people during the experiment.
Which is wow.
They effectively consented to an open arrangement for the duration of filming.
Yeah.
Their singular, supposedly unbreakable rule was no lying. Fast forward. Cole inevitably hooks up with someone, but in a moment of cowardice, he lies about it. Scarlett inevitably discovers the truth and is absolutely furious. But here is where the cognitive dissonance and self-deception take over.
This is the crucial part.
If you intellectually agree to grant your partner a hall pass to sleep with other people, you cannot feign devastating, world-ending shock when they actually utilize the pass.
Exactly.
Scarlett is lying to herself about her emotional capacity for an open arrangement.
Yeah.
She's not primarily angry about the lie. She's fundamentally, viscerally angry about the hookup. But because she already verbally consented to the hookup to seem like the cool, understanding girlfriend, she has to weaponize the lie as a technicality to justify her rage.
Yes, you cannot hand someone a hall pass, watch them walk down the hall, and then scream that they left the classroom.
It is pure self-deception.
People invent these hyper-specific rules before going on reality television, like you can kiss but no tongues, you can share a bed but keep clothes on, as an illusion of control.
Right, to manage their anxiety.
They think if they legislate the cheating, it won't hurt. But the heart doesn't care about the technicalities of a contract.
The intellectual brain can agree to an open relationship, but the mammalian attachment system will still trigger a profound threat response when the partner actually bonds with someone else. Scarlett thought she could outsmart human nature.
Which brings us to the tragic reality of these women. Segment 3. Hot person, bad decisions.
Just because they're hot does not mean they're smart.
Exactly. We need to evaluate the psychology of the women who are actively choosing to stay anchored to these men. Let's start by looking back at Kay.
Kai represents a tragic miscalculation of self-worth versus external validation.
Let me set the scene, because this is where the math doesn't add up. Kai is visually stunning. During that same brutal bracelet ceremony where Cole got humbled, Kai received 5 bracelets from the single men.
That's a huge ratio.
5. That is 25% of the available male population explicitly declaring her as their top choice. She's highly desired. She has empirical proof of her value in this ecosystem.
Yet, instead of leveraging that high market value, what is her behavioral response? She isolates herself in a corner, weeping over Summit.
It's maddening.
She is agonizing over a man who, as we established, actively degrades her physical appearance and pines for a completely different demographic of women.
It is the ultimate tragedy. Why are you crying over a 35-year-old man in a sweater vest when you have 5 objectively gorgeous men begging for your attention?
It defies logic.
It's because the trauma bond Summit created is stronger than the external validation of strangers. He broke her self-esteem so thoroughly that she genuinely believes his crumbs of approval are worth more than a healthy man's devotion.
Very well said.
Hot person, deeply bad decision. Now let's analyze Sydney's trajectory.
Sydney's historical context with Mikey is what makes her continued presence in the relationship so deeply frustrating to witness.
Infuriating.
We learn the backstory. Mikey previously discarded Sydney to pursue a relationship with his ex-girlfriend. That ex-girlfriend subsequently cheated on Mikey. And only then, when Mikey was rejected, sad and lonely, did he come crawling back to Sydney. And the foundational tragedy of Sydney's narrative is that she took him back.
I am so fundamentally angry at that specific bad decision. You cannot allow yourself to be the backup plan to the backup plan.
You really can't.
Why would you willingly reinstate the doofus maloofus after he proved you were his second choice? However, I am beginning to see a shift. I am giving Sydney some critical points here.
Oh, because of the date?
Yes, because despite his manipulation, she did pick Xzavier, the acoustic guitar threat, for that date. And if we look closely at the preview for the upcoming episodes, we see a split-second shot of her actively kissing Xzavier.
The awakening.
Babes, Sydney is waking up from the Matrix. She is realizing the guitar player offers a reality far superior to the Three Amigos delusion.
It is a slow, methodical awakening. If we look at it through a lens of strategic behavior, perhaps this was a highly calculated revenge arc from the beginning.
Oh, I would love that.
Imagine the sheer narrative power. of agreeing to go on national television with a man who treated you as an afterthought, pretending to work on the foundation of the relationship, and then absolutely dismantling his ego on a global stage by leaving him for a man who is objectively superior in every metric.
If that is her actual master plan, if she is playing 4D chess while Mikey is playing checkers, she will go down as an absolute icon.
An absolute legend.
But then we have the most baffling decision maker of them all, Cheyenne.
Cheyenne is making a decision based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how trust and human behavior operate.
Let's hear it.
Let's analyze the core fallacy of her strategy. She took Jack, a man with a proven documented history of elaborate deception and infidelity, and placed him in an artificial environment swarming with beautiful women whose contractual obligation is to seduce him, all to prove that he has changed.
The logic is completely absent. It is an emotional void.
It is structurally flawed, to use an analogy. That is the equivalent of trying to prove a dog is highly obedient by placing a raw, bloody ribeye steak directly on the kitchen floor, leaving the house for a month, and expecting the dog to simply read a magazine.
The dog is not reading a magazine.
The steak is getting eaten. The dog's nature dictates it.
The steak is absolutely getting eaten. He is already on camera discussing the hypothetical flavor of the steak.
Exactly.
And here is the fatal flaw in her entire premise. Even if, by some absolute statistically impossible miracle, Jack manages to suppress his urges and keep his hands to himself on the island, what does that actually prove?
Nothing.
He knows he is surrounded by a dozen high-definition cameras. He knows his actions are being recorded for national broadcast. Passing a test while under the intense scrutiny of a panopticon does not mean he is fundamentally cured.
It just means he understands the consequences of being caught on film.
Exactly. It guarantees absolutely nothing about his behavior at a sticky, dimly lit dive bar back home in his hometown on a random Tuesday night. The entire foundation of her hope is built on sand.
Which is precisely why observing this show is such a compelling psychological exercise. It forces all of these terrible decisions, these silent anxieties, and these cognitive distortions directly into the harsh lighting of reality television.
It's a mess.
Which brings us to segment 4, the ultimate necessary question of the night. The thought experiment we must turn on ourselves.
Oh my God, I know where this is going.
Would you survive Temptation Island? Be completely, rigorously honest. The parameters are strict. You cannot lie to yourself about your emotional fortitude, and you cannot pretend you would be the cool, detached partner.
I have to give the most emotionally raw, honest answer possible.
Let's hear it.
I would crash out immediately.
I believe that.
Literally, the psychological collapse would occur before we even finished unpacking the suitcases in the villa. The very first bonfire. If I saw a heavily edited, slow-motion clip of my partner even glancing in the general direction of a slip and slide, I would be in absolute hysterics.
You'd lose it.
I would bypass co-rumination and go straight to destruction. I would be throwing the decorative tropical island throw pillows directly into the fire pit.
That's a strong visual.
I would be demanding an immediate audience with the executive producer, demanding a helicopter extraction off the island. I wouldn't even survive the initial mechanism of the bracelet ceremony.
The bracelets would end you.
If I had to stand there and watch a single woman physically place a claim on my partner's wrist, I would initiate a scene so structurally catastrophic they would have to halt production and cancel the entire season. I am completely biologically incapable of maintaining that level of chill.
I deeply appreciate the self-awareness because individuals with your exact psychological profile are the lifeblood of reality television production.
It's true. What about you?
But if I evaluate my own realistic response, I think I would attempt to logically game the system.
Of course you would.
I would treat the entire construct purely as a free, all-expenses-paid tropical vacation. I would completely emotionally disengage from the premise.
You say that now.
I would walk straight past the manufactured drama, locate the one cast member who inevitably knows how to cook and clean, and I would simply set up camp. I would ensure generous, heavy pours of wine by the pool, focus entirely on UV absorption, and utilize Markel Wahlberg exclusively as a free, weekly therapist to unpack my own unrelated childhood trauma.
See, you think your higher executive functioning could outsmart the environment. You think you could logic your way out of the emotional trap, but you are underestimating the producers.
How so?
They are incredibly maliciously sneaky. You cannot trust the stimuli they present to you. You might be chilling by the pool, but they would take a clip of your partner simply saying hello to the barista, slow the frame rate down by 50%, overlay a sinister, pulsing bass track, and manipulate the lighting to make it look like they were deeply in love and plotting an elopement.
That is a fair point.
Look at the psychological warfare they enacted on Sydney. They showed her a clip of Mikey saying he's going to shoot his shot, completely stripping away the context that he was probably talking about a basketball game just to deliberately fracture her peace of mind.
It's a fair counterargument. The editing day is a weapon of mass psychological destruction. They do not require you to actually commit infidelity. Their only required metric for success is convincing your partner that you might be capable of it.
Exactly.
It is an incredibly impressive, terrifying level of manipulation. But I still maintain that the free access to a luxury pool and imported wine might theoretically counterbalance the persistent gaslighting.
You are built fundamentally different than I am. I would be requiring a straitjacket by day 3.
Probably.
Which brings us to the wrap-up of our discussion. Because after immersing ourselves in hours of this tropical manufactured chaos, my baseline emotional state is right back where we started.
The cycle of viewing is complete.
Yeah.
We are circling right back to the beginning.
We are sitting here still gripped by deep, visceral, tropical jealousy, still harboring simmering winter rage because we have zero predictive power over whether we should wear a parka or a swimsuit tomorrow.
Still fully delusional.
And maintaining the absolute, complete delusion that we somehow inherently belong in Hawaii right now, drinking out of coconuts instead of freezing our extremities off.
And honestly, when you strip away the psychological theories and the sociological evaluations, the only tangible thing successfully guiding us through this weather identity crisis and this television trauma is the absolute structural excellence of the Quiznos roast beef and cheddar sandwich.
Amen to that.
It is the silent, reliable MVP of tonight's analysis.
Elite. Truly consistently elite. So, Snark Squad, we need to know. We are asking you directly, challenging you to look at your own cognitive dissonance.
Be honest.
Would your relationship actually survive the architecture of this show? Be brutally honest with yourself? Or would you be exactly like me, weeping uncontrollably at the bonfire on night 1, throwing a fit over a piece of jewelry?
And if we abstract this further, I want you to consider a deeper question. Is the experiment itself the toxic element, the active poison? Or are these couples fundamentally, structurally doomed from the inception of their relationship, and the island is merely a catalyst speeding up a timeline that was already written?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Think about our complicity as viewers in demanding this psychological toll for our Saturday night entertainment. And most importantly, if you could go anywhere right now to escape this absolute garbage weather, to escape your own localized panopticon, where are you going?
Drop your destination and your psychological self-evaluations in the comments. And remember, rate, review, subscribe.
Please do.
Send in your absolute most unhinged, deeply analytical submissions for next week.
And please send this episode immediately to your most delusional friend who actually thinks their relationship could survive Temptation Island. They are in desperate need of a reality check.
A massive, massive thank you to the Snark Squad for drinking the wine, eating the sandwiches, and exploring the depths of human vulnerability with us tonight. We love you so much.
Stay shady.
Stay iconic, and we'll see you on the Snark side.